Why should endurance athletes strength train? Predominantly so you can go further, go longer, and the key is to be able to keep moving more efficiently. It's simple, that's the question answered. Don't worry, we're not stopping there though. I want to look at exactly what type of strength training is best going to help you reach those endurance goals and the reasoning behind it. I want to start by looking into the why. So VO2 and economy will predetermine your performance. So let's say two people have the same VO2 output, but a different actual overall output. Well, that's going to be due to the economy. And that basically means the body's ability to get those muscles firing efficiently and working together, as well as combined with good biomechanics. So for running, for example, that is your body's ability to propel you forwards. Well, you might be questioning the need for economy if you're at the stage of having poor technique with lots of room for improvement or not great aerobic fitness, but see it as an investment that's going to allow you to really push that ceiling higher in the long term, because once you have nailed your technique and you have really got to the top of your VO2 max, you can continue to improve. So by working on strength training, you're going to be teaching your body to recruit those muscle fibers that maybe aren't getting switched on by just purely swimming, cycling and running, but once you've woken them up and you come back to those sports, well, they're going to be there and ready to use. And it's also going to help with you to develop your power, something that's synonymous with cycling, but is going to be useful across all endurance sports. Well, how you prioritise fitting in strength training is the question. I mean, realistically, it's quite hard to justify taking time out from your aerobic training schedule and swapping that with strength. But there is some evidence actually that proves it can help with your performance. And there's a study which I found looking at well-trained runners that backs this up. They split the runners into two groups. One that had 32% of their training swapped from running to strength training, and the other just had 3% swapped. After 9 weeks, the group who were including the explosive strength work saw an improvement in their 5K times. The other group saw no improvement, and both groups had the VO2 that remained the same. Their conclusion being it was down to an improvement in neuromuscular characteristics that improved their running economy. Well, that example obviously looked at running, and that's where you're likely to see the largest gain in economy when you add in strength training, if you compare the three sports of triathlon. But that said, if you look at endurance athletes over the three, you're more likely to see swimmers and cyclists spending more time in the gym than you would runners. Excuse the quick interlude, it's British summertime, it's raining, we're going to head into the set to finish this video. Okay, back to it. There are a few probably more commonly known reasons for using strength training as an endurance athlete. Now, if you're doing big miles, it is quite likely that you are susceptible to injury. Now, doing strength training is going to basically make your body more resilient to picking up those niggles. If, say, you're an endurance cyclist or swimmer, well, you're going to be spending a lot of time training, but not actually putting any pressure down through your limbs. You're not weight bearing. So doing some work in the gym is going to help stimulate that bone growth and make sure you've got a healthy bone density. And then also, it's another way of being able to increase your training without necessarily doing more of that sport that you're training for. So you could add in some strength training to make you stronger overall without kind of repeatedly doing miles when it's running, cycling or swimming. Or you could even take out a little bit of that training and replace it with strength training like we showed in that study we mentioned earlier. Hard to go into too much detail as to exactly what your strength program needs to look like, as everyone's going to be different. It depends on your discipline, the distance that you're targeting, and also the level at which you're competing. It'll obviously predominantly be upper body and core you need to work on. For cycling, you're going to be focusing on the legs and of course some core, and then running, predominantly legs and core, but also a bit more upper body is going to need to be mixed in. As endurance athletes, you want to be strong and fast. You actually want to improve that power to weight ratio, a common phrase in cycling, but basically you want to be getting stronger, but you don't really want to be getting heavier. So your gym program needs to be tailored that it's going to help your muscle fibers become more dense, but not hypertrophied. You don't want them becoming larger, and you can control this by making sure you do the specific amounts of weights and number of reps. Within reason, lifting heavier for fewer reps will encourage strength development with minimal muscle size increase. So if you're already familiar with strength work, look to do workouts that have reps of around 6 to 8 that you can complete 3 to 4 times through, having adequate rest between sets, and use a weight that tests you by the end of each set. This might sound harder than lifting a lighter weight with higher reps, but it'll actually have the best result for you as an endurance athlete. And interestingly, you'll also experience less in the way of DOMS, delayed muscle onset soreness, with this style of training. Explosive work such as plyometrics are a great way of recruiting those muscle fibers and improving on your neuromuscular signaling so you become more efficient when you do return to your normal sport. And single-sided exercises or single leg exercises are a really great way for helping to prevent injury and actually identify any weakness. So approach these in the same way you would a compound exercise, but say if you normally do a double leg squat, then you can do a single leg squat instead, but you'll need to reduce the weight accordingly. I've not gone into much detail on how to go about your strength training. That's because basically it's too big a topic to cover today and it's best suited to another video. But hopefully it's given you something to think about, and actually just researching and writing the script has made me realize that I probably need to add strength training back into my own program. But I'd love to know if you already use strength training as part of your endurance program and how it helps you. You can do that in the comments section below. If you've enjoyed it, hit that like button, you know what to do. Remember, check us out on social media, and why not follow us on YouTube if you're not yet doing so.